Good morning students, welcome all of you to online English class. In the previous class, we have just completed the poem When You Are Old, and in today's class, we are going to discuss To the Food from Its Child by Pablo Neruda. To the Food from Its Child, if you just look at the title itself, you can easily identify the poem is something different. Yes, the poem is very different. It's very metaphorical poem. Why? Because it is one of the best example for modern poetry. The given poem To the Food from Its Child, it is written by Pablo Neruda, the Nobel Prize laureate for literature. Before we begin with the poem, or before we see the background of the poem, let us see a brief introduction about the poet. Pablo Neruda is the pen name and later legal name of the Chilean poet, diplomat and politician Neftali Ricardo Reis Basalto. So Neftali Ricardo Reis Basalto. So this is the name of the original name of the poet. Pablo Neruda, it is the pen name of the poet. He chose his pen name after the Czech poet Jan Neruda. In 1971, Neruda won the Nobel Prize for Literature. You need to underline this. In 1971, Pablo Neruda, he won Nobel Prize for Literature. Neruda was recognized as a poet when he was a teenager. He wrote in a variety of styles including surrealist poems. Surrealist poem, the poem which combines reality and fantasy together. The poem which combines, the poem which uses reality, ordinary settings as well as dreamlike fantasy-like setting. That is surrealist poem. Historical epics, the great works based on history. Overtly political manifestos, politically intentioned, political desired works, a prose autobiography, and erotically charged love poems. And he wrote even erotically charged, romantically charged love poems, such as in his 1924 collection, 20 love poems and a song of despair. So he wrote a collection of poems in 1924 with the title 20 love poems and a song of despair. So this is a brief background about the poet. Poet by name Pablo Neruda. He belongs to the country called Chile. And Pablo Neruda, it is not his original name, it is his pen name. And he won Nobel Prize in the year 1971. So these many things you need to remember. And he belongs to Chilean country and his original name is Neftali Ricardo Reis Basalto. And the given poem, it is translated by Alistair Reid. So before we begin with the poem, let us see what is the background of the poem, because if you look at the title itself, To the Food from Its Child, it is very different title. You cannot even make out what the poem is about by this title. In pre-reading activity, some parts of the body are normally attributed metaphorically. For example, heart emotions, head reason. Similarly, what do these refer to? Foot, shoulders, hand, eye. Some parts of the body normally attributed metaphorically. So metaphorically means comparatively or indirectly. What is this? Heart emotions. Heart emotions, true emotions. So to use true emotions and intense, extreme, deep emotions, we use the word heart emotions. Head reason. Head reason, main reason, chief reason. To use main reason or chief reason, we use the word head reason. So head is the main part of the body, main part. So that's why head reason means main reason. Similarly, foot refers to what? Foot refers to independence. Foot refers to freedom. Foot refers to one's own progress. In the same way, shoulders refers to responsibility. Shoulders refers to hard work. Shoulders refers to taking the work and carrying that responsibility. Hand refers to helping nature. Hand refers to work. Helping hand. We use the word helping hand. So hand refers to helping others, or hand refers to work. At the same time, eye. Eye refers to observation. Eye refers to observation. Eye refers to understanding. So like this, these words, these parts of the body can be used as metaphorically. Foot refers to independence. Foot refers to self-progress. Shoulders refers to responsibility, accountability. Hand refers to helping nature. Eye refers to observation and understanding. In the same way, what do the following expression mean? Stand on one's own feet. So to stand on one's own feet means to be independent, to be self-dependent. Without depending on others, you are depending on yourself, learning things by yourself, you are getting your own experience and you are building your life by yourself. That is, stand on one's own feet. Next expression, to have a brave heart in cold blood. To have a brave heart means to face the difficulties or any problems with courage. To face any kind of situation. It might be extremely dangerous situation or extremely difficult situation, but you are facing it with so much of courage. So that is to have a brave heart. In cold blood. In cold blood means out of any human emotions. Without having any emotions, without having any feelings. For example, he brutally murdered his own son in cold blood. And we have a word called cold-blooded criminal. Cold-blooded criminal means the criminal, the person who is not having any feelings at all, any emotions at all, who can kill the other person without any feeling, without any mercy. That is in cold blood. Take to one's heel. Take to one's heel means escaping, running away. To use the word running away or to escape, we use this word take to one's heel. So why these kind of words and expressions given? Because so similar kind of words and expressions are used in the poem, and whatever the word he is using in the poem, it's very indirect, it's very metaphorical. It is modernist poem, it is modern poem. So that's why the poet, whatever he is using the words in the poem, it is not having only one direct meaning. Instead it is having different meanings, that two indirect meanings. Not directly he is expressing, he is indirectly expressing his feelings. Then when it comes to the background of the poem, let us see what is the background of the poem. So if you see on this board, so here is a circle, or you can take it as a cycle as well. So if you look at anybody's life, human life in a given society, in our society, if you take human life, so you consider this circle as society. This circle is a society. So whatever happens in our life, it happens within society. We are social animals. All of us, we are living within a society, right? We cannot live without society. Whatever happens in our life, that happens inside the society. So look at this circle, and this circle is society, and in society, we enter the society with our birth. Any individual, any child enters the society with its birth. Soon after its birth, the child learns to know its religion, culture and caste. How? Look at our names. Why do we all of us have names? Just to create our own identity? Yes. The one reason is that, obvious reason is to create our own identity. But if you look at names, if you observe closely, names does not just symbolize your identity, names does not just express your identity, but instead names show or express, connotatively express your religion. In some cases, your caste. Names express, names is symbol for religion and caste. How? For example, so look at the names of Muslims. And just look at the names of Christians and the names of Hindus. By the name itself, you can make out which religion they belong to. By this, we can say that name is given to identify not the identity of an individual, instead to identify their religion. If they have their surnames as well, after the name they have surnames, right? Some extra fittings for the name, and that extra fitting shows, what does it show? It shows their subcaste as well. Religion, caste, subcaste. So that's why we are given with the name. And there we start to know religion, culture, caste, everything. And after the child enters to the education field, where the child learns to know about the rules and regulations of the society. For the first time, the child learns to know how to behave in society. At home, you can behave freely. When you were a child, you would have behaved so freely and according to your wish and the way you wanted to behave, you can behave when you were a child. But can you behave the same behavior now, being a grown-up person, being an adult? Now you cannot behave, now you cannot exhibit the same kind of behavior, same kind of attitude when you were a child you used to behave. Why? Because now you are trained individual, learned individual. You are trained by whom? Trained by society. A society trained by your parents, trained by your friends, trained by your teachers, trained by your elders. Apart from you, whoever you meet, whoever are there in your life, they are going to train you, they are going to teach you one or the other thing. All this teaching is going to imprison you with its rules and regulations. When you once enter the education field, there you need to follow certain rules and regulations. You might not be following the same rules and regulation at home, but when you enter the school, enter education, there you need to follow certain rules. Then, when you complete your education, you enter into your profession, job field, work environment. There also you have rules and regulations. There also you have code of conduct. There also you have certain laws, certain norms, certain things to be followed. That is the rules and regulations of work environment, rules and regulations of education. After that, you enter into the next phase, next stage of your life, that is marriage. And after getting married, you need to follow certain rules and regulations, right? You need to completely change your lifestyle, you need to adjust with so many things, you need to take responsibility, you need to take burdens, you need to carry forward so many things with you. Before marriage, your lifestyle, your way of living, your freedom, your expenses, everything is different. After marriage, it is completely different, where you get a lot of responsibility, right, on your shoulders. After marriage, you have children and more responsibility. You need to bring up those children and you need to take care of the children, you need to provide them education and etc, etc, etc. And if you look at this circle, this cycle, so instead of calling it as circle, let me call it as cycle. If you look at this cycle, in this cycle, right, once you enter the society with your birth, wherever you see, you are having only rules and regulations. Wherever you see, you have domination. Wherever you see, you have a lot of pressure on you. Why? Because you cannot behave the way you wanted to behave. You cannot experience the experience which you wanted to really experience. You cannot get the kind of experience which you wanted to experience. No, the kind of experience which society wants you to experience, that kind of experience only you are going to experience. Right? Why? Because your experience, your behavior, it is not normal behavior, it is not casual, natural behavior. It is trained behavior. It is given behavior. It is constructed behavior. It is taught behavior. You wanted to behave in such a way, in a certain way, because society wanted you to behave like that. Because your parents, your elders, your teachers wanted you to behave like that. When you were a child, you doesn't know any rules and regulations of the society. So that's why you behave differently. You behave creatively. You behave the way you wanted to behave. Your self, your true feelings, true behavior is when you are a child. But after that childhood, whenever you enter the adulthood, teenage, young age, old age, everything, all this behavior, it is taught behavior, given behavior, constructed behavior. You are shaped by the society. Your behavior, your experience, in a simple word, your whole life is constructed or given, or it is molded by the society. You are living in a society. Who is having domination over your life? Society is having domination. You are not taking your own decisions. You are not making own decisions. But the society is making decisions instead of you. Society is making decisions on behalf of you. So just think, are you living your life according to your norms, or you are living the life according to the norms of the society? Simple question. Are you living your life as your own norms, as your wish, whether you are living the life according to the norms of the society? Yes, obviously most of you, I am sure all of you will say you are living the life according to the norms of the society, according to the expectation of the society. So that's how a child's life is completely controlled, dominated, destroyed, molded, constructed by society. The poet is giving this idea in the poem from the birth to death, how a child or how an individual is going to lead a mechanical life, and this mechanical life is very pathetic, very suffering kind of thing, very burdensome thing. Why? Because the child during its childhood had lot of dreams, lot of aspirations, dreams, and when the child starts growing, all the dreams are crushed by the society. Why? Because dreams are different and the bitter reality of the society is completely different. The child might have colorful dreams, lot of enjoyment, lot of hopes and aspirations, but once you enter the society, once you learn the rules and regulations of the society, all your dreams are crushed, all your dreams are altered, all your dreams and enjoyment and freedom, it is completely molded by society. This idea is represented in the poem indirectly. So that's why look at the title, To the Foot from its Child. So who is speaking? The foot is speaking. To whom the foot is speaking? To child. So here, if you analyze it, if you look at the title, To the Child from its Foot. To the child from its foot. To the child from its foot. So here, foot symbolizes the self of an individual. Here, foot symbolizes the child itself, the inner self, the true nature of the child. Here, the true nature, the self, is speaking with the child, is representing the child itself. To the foot from its child, to the child from its foot. The foot is speaking to the child. Here the foot is compared to child. The foot is having life. Here the foot, a part of a body, is personified. It is personification. The part of the body is looked at as a whole person, that is child. Here foot symbolizes child. So this is the background of the poem. I hope all of you have understood this background. The background is very simple. What is that? When a child takes birth in society, how the life of that child from its birth till its death is completely molded, constructed, dominated, controlled, and even sometimes exploited by the rules and regulations and norms of the society. If you look at children, one child's smile is different from the other's child, and one infant's way of thinking is different from the other infant's way of thinking. But we become normal, we become common when we go to school. At home, you are special. If you look at children, if you look at kids, when they are at home, they are very special, very different, very creative, very innovative. If you give a thing to a child, with that thing, with that toy or with that device, with that thing, one child is going to do, one child is going to create the other thing. If you give the same thing to another child, another kid, that child or that kid is going to use that thing in another words, in another way. So here we can see that there is a clear difference between one child's way of thinking, one child's way of learning from the other child's way of learning. So that is very different, very special, because all of us are created differently. All of us are special from one another, different from one another. You are of your own kind. So that's why, have you ever thought of why all of us we have different eye retina, different thumb impressions, biometrics, different structure, right? Biologically we might be having same structure, right? But our psychological structure, way of thinking, taste, attribute, character, likes, dislikes, eye retina, voice modulation, everything. Even our body has got some smell. That smell is different from each person. From one person to other person, the smell of the body is different. Eye retina is different, thumb impression different, DNA is different. Everything is different. Why? Because we are not the same. We are different. In a way, we are special. We are of the only of our kind. We are the one of our kind. So just like us, there is nobody else. It might be in character, it might be in way of thinking, it might be likes and dislikes, but we are going to become normal. We will be normal, casual, ordinary when we once step into the first unit of the society, that is family. Next, education. Once you enter this education field, there you completely become normal, ordinary. Why? Because in the school, have you ever seen different childs are taught different in different ways? No, all the children are taught in one way. There we are going to become normal. We were born special, born different, we are completely special from others, but when we go to school, we become normal, ordinary, casual. How? That we have to see in the poem, how the poet is metaphorically representing the whole life of a child from its birth till its end. How it is going to enjoy its childhood and how it is going to feel sufferings throughout his adulthood, teenage, and how the child can escape these kind of burdenous, repetitive cycle, mechanical life, how the child can escape. So that we are going to see in the next class. I hope all of you have understood the background. So go through the introduction of the poet and go through the pre-reading activity. Then you will be clear. If you don't understand, in the next class as well, I am going to give you once again the background of the poem. Until then, all of you take care. Bye.